Happy April Fools, everyone.
April Fool's Day.
I know you read the title, and we're actually not April Fooling. We just thought it'd be fun to to close the company on April Fool's Day. Um, but it's real. It's like the company was we did this as like a thing for each other and an experience in life, and it's been awesome. We've met some crazy cool people. We've made lifelong friends through this company.
Yeah,
Got to
yeah.
do some
It's
amazing things.
yeah. It's Hold on, I'm going to continue to talk while I text my wife to tell my kids to shut up. Uh, we had another podcast before this one, and for those that don't know, the idea of whiskey and whitetails was sort of a sometimes things come together, and sometimes in conversations you have people that like three people all saying the same thing a different way, and that's kind of how this company happened. Like a it was a crossroads of a handful of ideas that finally made sense when they came together. Like
Mhm.
independently, they weren't jiving, but through conversations and talking with friends and a podcast from an episode that we did with another podcast, that was a kind of an in season series called Whiskey and Whitetails. It was just supposed to be like a short couple of episodes that we would do once a month during deer season to talk about how the season was going, but we had such a massive response from it. We were like, "Well, that's really cool, but what do we do with it?" And then some other ideas came to fruition, and then, dude, it was like a whirlwind. In like 5 days, we had a website stood up, the LLC formed, we had
Yeah.
all the I mean, we went fucking ham in like
Yeah.
5 days and built an entire business.
Well, it was kinda
Uh,
like the last company. I'm glad you brought that up, actually. The last company was more of, like, apparel and fishing and, like, things that you would do in South Carolina, like living on the coast.
right,
And then,
yeah,
there's a season where we're whitetail hunting, and we're hanging out at the hunt club, and we're drinking whiskey around a fire, and so it was like, we're not gonna talk about fishing and apparel anymore, we're gonna talk about hunting and whiskey,
yeah,
and
right.
and yeah, that series came out and it popped off, and we basically rebranded and we called it Whiskey and Whitetails. And then we got nervous that someone like Meat Eater could do a segment called Whiskey and Whitetails because they're huge, and like surely
Yeah,
somebody eventually was going to get that idea. And if that happened and we weren't trademarked, then they would pretty much shut us down immediately. So we only trademarked it so that no one could do it. Not saying they were stealing our idea, that they came up with it independently on their own, and then we would look like frauds.
yep.
So we
Just
trademarked
because
it.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
we did, and I mean, it was worth
And the
every
trademark was so expensive, we had to figure out how to pay for it. So so the first thing we made was, we bought a bourbon barrel, right? Where did we get the first one from?
From Bitter Milk in North
Oh, that's right,
Charleston.
from Bittermilk, yeah. So we got a
Oh,
we
what
got a
a fucking
barrel.
disaster. It was so messy.
It was disgusting. It was covered in syrup. We took it apart in my driveway, which is the day I met my neighbor that was moving in, which
That's
is
right.
hung out with him last night, pretty cool guy. We took it apart and we made our first cocktail smoker, and it looked horrible.
Oh, it was god awful.
But it, like, smoked the glass, and it was really cool, and we were like, "Wait, I think we're onto something here."
Yep.
And how many smoker kits do you think we sold since 2020?
Over 1,000.
Oh, way over 1,000. We did a
I
giveaway
mean,
for.
at 1,000, we did a
Yeah,
giveaway.
we did a
That was a couple
giveaway.
years ago. So close to 2,000 probably. And we sold other products that we developed over time. And so some of those
Yeah.
orders were other things, but it's like certain, trying to think of other certain companies. The cocktail smoker for a long time was our staple. So a lot of times, even if orders and had other products, it was an add-on, and the cocktail smoker was kind of the mainstay. I mean, we did tens and tens and tens of, or no, hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales.
Yeah, our
Um,
first year, we did 100, I think 120,000 in sales,
yeah,
and we never collected a paycheck from that. That money went to keep the business open. It got us into other things that allowed us to we ended up meeting Jacob, who was a Patreon guy for a long time, and he helped make the game calls for us. So we'd send him wood, and he would make duck calls, turkey calls, buck grunt tubes, wood duck calls.
yep,
We got into cigars for a little while. We started making cigar rests, and we got Glencairns with our name on it. So like all the money we made, we put it into R&D on new things, and we also used it for travel. We got to go to a bunch of distilleries,
oh
flights,
yeah,
airfare, hotel, rental cars,
yeah.
meals. It also
All the
gave us
money
an
that we
opportunity to write off stuff personally in our personal taxes. It was awesome. Like, this has been an incredible journey. We loved
yeah,
all of it.
it's been a lot of fun. And like Matt said, we've met a ton of incredible people. We've had a lot of unbelievable experiences. Things that I can say, and I think Matt can say, have 100% changed our lives. Not
Yeah,
just like the way people say, "Oh, it changed my life." I mean, literally changed the trajectory of our futures,
it did.
um, through the relationships and opportunities that have come out of this business. So while we are shutting down the business, in its not brick and mortar, but functional role perspective, however you will, uh, we'll continue to do podcast on YouTube, right? Every now and then, like when
Yeah, if you're an audio
you
listener, that's gonna be gone probably in the next 2 months. So,
yeah, I gotta figure out how that's gonna work. We'll have to shut things down kind of in a phased approach to track everything and do everything
yeah.
properly for you know laws and taxes and stuff like that. But the hosting of our episodes will probably come down in the next month or two. Luckily, Matt's done a great job keeping everything on YouTube, so there is the collection there that we can always post to, and yeah, we'll continue to get on here and shoot the shit, and if
Yeah.
not if not for you guys, just because we like to do it.
Yeah,
So
we like to do it. We'll definitely still be doing podcasts. And I also wanted to give, like, the exact reason we're shutting down. It's not because of anything really. I mean, we did see a small downturn in sales just because of the economy, but it's more of like, Gus worked his ass off making these smoker blocks. I mean, he lived in his garage,
yeah,
and we got tired of doing markets. I mean, it's like every Friday, Saturday we were at a market, sometimes Sundays we were traveling for events, and it just it takes a toll. And once your hobby becomes a job, everybody knows you start to
yeah,
kind of lose interest. We both have kind of cut back on drinking. Neither of us really drink that much anymore. Um, and the biggest thing, I think, because we held on to Patreon for a while, Patreon kept us running when we stopped selling products. But
hmm
I just feel guilty charging these guys money when they get maybe one or two podcasts a month just because we don't come in here. And I haven't posted on Instagram at all this year. I've accepted 2 collab posts, but we haven't made a single post. So
yeah,
I feel bad charging people money. And I told them this several times, and they're the coolest people. Our like the Discord chat is just they're the coolest people. They're like, we don't care. Like we're supporting y'all. We love what you do, and we love you, and we want to support you, and we're eternally thankful for that.
100%.
And we're doing what we think is right to stop that payment. Um,
Yep.
and we're going to keep the Discord open. I'm still going to be friends with those people. I've invited them all to come to Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's that's the other thing too. I wouldn't even go into Kentucky if it weren't for Whiskey and Whitetails.
That's what I was alluding to earlier,
Yeah,
is like, the opportunities that may come to fruition there, the opportunities that you're already taking advantage of. Like none of that would have existed um, if it wasn't for Whiskey and Whitetails. So
yeah. Well, it's like I think about Stark and like
yeah,
Ashley is my wife's best friend. That's his girlfriend, and that would have never happened if it weren't for Whiskey. We met them at Seawee.
right. Yeah.
Working a booth doing podcasts. We did a podcast with his boss, and that's how we met him. I mean, God, the things we've been able to do. There was so much. It was so hectic because we used to both kind of do stuff, and then I would get texts, and people were like, "Do you ever work?" And it's like, well, you got to understand when I'm posting things on social media, they're scheduled posts. I'm not actually
Right.
sitting behind it posting. So if you see us at an event on a Wednesday morning, and then you see me in a different state on a Friday,
Right.
and then we're hunting on a Saturday, and then Tuesday I'm posting videos from the hunt. Oh, that's because we came home Sunday and I made videos and put it up there, and
Sure.
it looked like we didn't. That this was a full time thing, but we've never. I'm not going to say we didn't have some cash sales that may have ended up in our pocket, but
Allegedly.
allegedly. I don't remember one in specific, but I would imagine that we've pulled $20 out to go get dinner or something from a. But no, we never received a
Petty
paycheck.
cash.
Yeah, petty
Petty cash.
cash.
Yeah. We never had a paycheck. Everything went back into finding ways to continue to do things that would allow us to create content or bring value to the
Yeah,
Patreon and our audience. So whether that was going to a bourbon on the banks and setting up a booth, which we didn't really make a whole lot of money that weekend, but we got to do some really cool podcasts
Mhm.
with industry people that we probably would have never had access to if we were not in the heart of Kentucky like we
Yeah, we
were.
got to do that White Oak Initiative podcast, which is awesome because that was a
Yeah,
huge topic back then. That's kinda
it
died off
was.
now.
Yeah, just like any other conservation topic, it's a hot topic, and then people realize it's going to be hard work, and they just stop caring. Unfortunately,
We should give some advice. Here's my main advice of this is one of the reasons that we're shutting down is in order to make it, you have to sell out. You have to.
it seems like it. Look, I do think that you can do it without it, but I think you have to come to the table with super deep pockets and be able to bankroll everything on
Yeah.
your own.
Yeah.
Um, so independently wealthy or have cash flow from maybe previous investments or whatever. We were hamstrung in some areas of this business because we simply chose not to um, take money from people just for the sake of having money that would allow us to do certain things. And I know that seems counterintuitive, but we built this business on the foundation of a friendship. And maybe that was a mistake. Maybe going into business with people ends in one of two ways. Either
100%, yeah.
they value the friendship enough that they don't take risks or do things that would jeopardize the business or the friendship. So the business is sort of handicapped, or they do, and the friendship or family, whatever it is, falls apart, right? You always hear stories and people say, "Don't go into
Yeah.
business with family."
We were
And I
super worried about that in the beginning. I'm
yeah, it was
glad we
something
made
that
it through, man.
well, it's something that I think we were very, very cognizant about. And
Yeah.
I think we saw firsthand someone else, another good couple of friends that allowed a third party to come in and get heavily involved financially
Yeah.
and influence one more than the other. And what they did to cut that other friend out was one of the most heartless,
It's horrific.
cold-hearted things that I
Yeah.
have ever seen do. Now, if we were talking about corporate business and big time investors
Right.
and partners making moves like that, that kind of shit happens every day. But I'm talking about a grassroots, like guys that are working a regular nine to
And
five
they
and then
really were childhood friends.
come in to
Yeah.
work at the office or the shop in the evenings, missing time with kids, and they did some really shady shit to push one of them out. And I don't believe that would have happened if they had not allowed some of those third party people to get involved.
They
That's just what
waited
I
for
believe.
one to retire, and then when that one retired, he was given, like, a full-time schedule by the guy that bought in. This is, like, to sum it all up,
Yeah.
and in order to get the other guy out, they tried to do the same thing to him, and he's like, "I have a full-time job. I can't be in here at 7 or at 9 AM for a meeting." And
hmm
then they basically were like, "Dereliction of duty, so you can't uphold your partnership," and
Well,
they
they
got him
they
out.
did they did that, but he still had enough ownership for him to be like, whatever, like you can't do that.
Yeah.
So what they did was they did, and I forget what it's called, but I think it's called a call for capital or a call to capital, where
Yeah.
basically the board decides the company needs more money in order and so we're calling for capital, and everyone that's on the board agrees by a majority vote that everyone here has to front a certain amount based on the percentage of ownership, and if you can't, then you're out, and
Yeah.
we buy your so they forced him out that way is what they
Yeah.
did. It's really shitty, man. Like,
Yeah, it
just
is.
super shitty.
But you hear about it all the time. People friends buy boats together, and it ends up ruining the friendship, and it's like,
I could
I
see
don't
that.
know. Yeah, 100%. But, like, Gus and I, we just said from the beginning, like, we will walk away from this if it ever questions the friendship. And so you're
100%.
right. There's been a lot of decisions we haven't made because either I don't think there's really anything we didn't see eye to eye on. Like, we pretty much agreed on everything, but there's things that we just didn't wanna do. We didn't wanna involve we didn't wanna sell out to a whiskey company and be like, "Hey, this podcast is brought to you by this whiskey company."
Yeah, that was from
Like,
day one. That was a non-starter. We weren't
yeah,
going to pigeonhole ourselves into being sponsored or, having to bend the knee for any one bourbon company or whiskey company or brand,
right.
any one hunting vendor. Now we're happy to promote some folks, and we did,
Yeah, Vantage Point Archery, we did not
Vantage
get paid for
Point.
that. Well, I mean, we got free broadheads, but every podcast that was sponsored by Vantage was us supporting an American-owned business that we loved and
Yeah.
appreciated. There was
And
no
and
money
we
exchanged.
and we frequently buy from them and get
We do.
bitched at
Yeah, they're like,
for it
"Don't buy,
anyways.
we'll just send it to you."
Don't budge it. And we enjoy supporting that company. And I'll toot their horn for until the day I die. But um,
And the Mint Mobile ad reads were basically us trying to get free cell phone service because everyone that signed up, we got credits towards ours. So it's, but I don't think we've ever taken accepted money for an ad.
I'll say
Other
this.
than, well, the automated ads through other podcasts, like the Waypoint
Y-
stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, like we're not Joe Rogan, so it's
Yeah.
not like we're making
It pays
tens
for
of
our
thousands
posting
or hundreds of
fees.
thousands.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, it pays for our
Which
hosting fees.
what was the biggest check how much is hosting fees? 60, $70 a month, something like that?
It's like 50 or $60.
Yeah. So it paid for that. So we made $50 a month. And then every once in a while we'd get a check for like $40 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Which is
pretty
thousands of
insignificant.
downloads to make
Yeah, so it
to make
tells you like how much we
$100.
get,
Yeah.
per ad view. But like Matt said, it was a hobby that we figured out a way to monetize,
Hmm.
and it allowed us to pay for some fun shit.
Right off my
And
Sitka.
shit like that. But in order to take it where I think it could have gone, I think we both agree, like it probably still does have the potential to go some places. It requires more of us than I think either of us are willing to do right now.
Yeah.
For both from a like uh, time perspective, but also investing and getting people involved that we're just not interested in doing.
No.
We had some awesome ideas
Yeah.
with this, and if you're listening to this and you got the funds and you wanna buy name and
Yeah. You
shit
want to
like
buy the trademark, get a lawyer, and pay for it all.
that, we can
We can,
talk.
yeah, we can talk. We're not really trying to do that, but we would because it is a cool concept. I mean, it's a cool name
Yeah, and we have some great ideas of things we can do with the
for sure.
company. Just like I said, it's a time thing. Matt's moving to Kentucky. He's
And I
not going to
will
be in
say,
this
we're not
area.
going to sell it for like $20. It'd have to be worth our time, thousands.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole with anybody for $500. Like it's not going to happen. We'll just own it forever. Or let it
Oh
disappear.
yeah, I'd rather do that as
Yeah.
well. Um,
You'd have to pay for me to rock my driveway before before I'm interested. And my driveway's a quarter mile long, so that's a lot of rock. Yeah.
um, so,
But it's
anyways, it's been fun. We've
yeah,
had a great time. A lot of awesome friends. And for all the things that maybe didn't work out the way we would have liked, I think the friendships, the connections, and the experiences that we've had more than make up for it. So
yeah.
I don't have any hard feelings. I'm not bummed about this at all. We
No, it
had a
was
good
awesome.
time. I learned a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah.
We're both young. Like there's other job and business opportunities out there still, and I will take every lesson learned from whiskey and whitetails and implement it elsewhere. In fact, I'm
100%.
helping my wife Jessica. I'm like 98% done with her website for her business, and I'm actually looking forward to being able to help her market on Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook like we were
Make
not able to
content.
do ever for
100%. That's
for
the other thing
whiskey and
too. We've
whitetails.
done all this with our hands tied behind our back. We've been
Oh,
banned
dude, we were
for
fucking
the entire time.
from day one. I mean, we started in September of 2020,
Yeah.
and by this time 2021, we were completely banned from
Yeah.
advertising on Facebook and Instagram because they have policies and that are unclear and hard to understand, and the vetting process is done using automation and AI that does not know how to discern between certain things. So because our products and descriptions have the words whiskey or barrel or bourbon in them, they were flagged as promoting alcohol,
Mm.
um,
And you'll see today
all kinds of things.
people will like spell things weird because they're trying to beat the algorithm. Like we
Yeah,
didn't know that 5 years ago.
no,
It was
and the only way still to this day to beat most of that is to have a huge fucking marketing budget and be able to
mhm.
hire someone and a lawyer who can stay on the phone nonstop with Facebook, and that's how the liquor companies that you see promoting and
Right.
Flavor and these other people who are literally promoting literal alcohol
Yeah.
are able to do it, but we couldn't promote things that are simply made out of bourbon barrels. So
And
it's
that's
very
another
frustrating.
piece of advice if you start a company. Marketing, I would be very, very cautious. You need to find out how long it takes for it to work because that's something we learned the hard way.
Yeah.
They gave us a quote of like $2,500 or something to do a marketing campaign. And we
Yeah.
were like, okay, that's a lot of money. I don't know that we can get the ROI out of it. I don't know if it's worth it, you know? And so we eventually ended up, we're like, we got to do something. So we did this $2,500 thing. And after 30 days, they were like, hey, in 6 days, you owe us 2,500 for month two. And we're like, well, we haven't seen an increase on anything. And they're like, well, it takes 5 to 6 months for this to work. And it's like, okay, so 2,500 times six, that's what you're asking me for.
Yeah.
Like, it's make sure you know that stuff because we didn't, and we basically dumped $2,500 down the drain, and we did that twice. I think the first time it was 1,800,
It
and
was
we didn't learn.
1,800 the first time, and
Yeah,
no, it was 2,500 the first time, and then we thought we were getting a deal the next time around that was 1,800, and that
yeah,
ended up being
that was the nail in the coffin. We never
that
did it
was
again.
and that was the one that was local. We were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
maybe this is the better idea."
Well, they
We
found it
ended
as a
up
seaweed. They're like, we specialize in outdoor brands, and we understand your target audience, and we fell for a
yeah.
sales pitch. You
Yep, it
know,
happens.
it
And
happens.
here's the thing, you start a business, it's gonna happen to you too.
Yeah.
And we're warning you, but it's still gonna happen because
Yep.
there are just some things you have to learn yourself and experience yourself. Um,
And if you're
there
Walmart, you can drop 10 grand a month on
well, and
advertising.
that's
Not
the
a big
thing.
deal.
And
But if,
that's what I was alluding to earlier about getting other people involved. Like we could have gotten an
right.
investor, someone who was willing to come in and have 30% of the company or whatever and drop a ton of money, and we could have used that money for marketing and advertising. Um, but then we would be giving up a lot of ownership and direction
Yeah.
creatively with the company that we just weren't willing to do. It just
And
wasn't worth it to us.
And to put that in perspective for you, $2,500, that's 50 cocktail smokers. That's 50 times we did a sales pitch, showed them how to use it, told them it's got a lifetime warranty, made out of bourbon barrels. This is the soak line. That's how far the whiskey soaks into the wood. I mean, that's 50 times we had to do that to get $2,500. So, I mean, granted, we sold more things than just that, but I mean, that's 50 sales in one market would be pretty sick. I don't know that that was ever a thing.
In one,
I think
no,
we
not
usually
in one
walked away
market.
like 12, 13, $1,400 in a market. So you're talking about
Yeah,
2
that was
Saturday
that was
nights.
a that was a good weekend.
Yeah,
That was a solid
2
weekend.
good Saturday nights is what that marketing budget costed us. So it's like as time goes on, you start to look at it and you go, "Well, would I rather do this or be at home with my wife or my kids or, like, hanging out with my friends?" Or, it's Saturday. If it was Monday night, Wednesday night,
Yeah,
whatever. But no one's going to these markets. So it's like you start to think about it, it's like, "Is this worth it?" And to us,
yeah,
it's just no longer worth it. It was a lot of fun. We loved it, but it's not worth it to me anymore.
yeah, man. This past Christmas was the first like October through the end of January in 5 years where I have not been stressed out of my
Oh,
mind,
yeah.
living in my garage, you know, turning out products, and then until the very last like 30 seconds that absolutely had to get upstairs and shower to get to an event
Yeah.
or get to one of my kids' things or come inside because we're having dinner. It's like if I had free time, it was in that garage making products because we had shit to sell and things to move. And
And we lived
it
an
wears
hour
on you.
apart. We had to meet, and then I had to bring it back here and wrap it all and brand it all. Branding it took forever. Brand it,
Yeah.
wrap it, tie it. I mean, my entire office, I've gotten rid of most of it now, but there's this entire room is basically a shipping center. Like I've got boxes fucking everywhere, tape. I got spaces where you put the product. I've got my closet's like full of hats and shirts, and there's tubs everywhere. I mean, there's just
And
shit everywhere.
and this could have been solved by having a product and a process that somebody else could do. One of the biggest mistakes I think I made early on is that we developed a product that required manufacturing that was it took me like 6 months to really really truly figure it out. And by that time we were selling enough that I didn't have time to train someone or show someone else how to do it.
Right.
I just needed to do it.
The same thing with
And
our classes. Like the
yep.
classes, it's like we had to do it. We built a business where Gus and I had to do all of it.
And that I will admit that may be one of the biggest mistakes is that we did not create uh, systems in a business that allowed us to delegate things to people so that we could focus on the business. We were too busy working in the business and not working on the business.
Yeah.
And so that, I will admit that was not, but to be fair, in the beginning, I loved it. Like, I really loved the grind. I love being in there making stuff and then working all week to make a bunch of shit and then bringing it to the market and selling it and making money. It was like, this is fucking,
Mhm.
I'm in my mind, I'm seeing this on a small scale where we're making a couple thousand in a weekend, and I'm thinking, man, we can keep scaling this, get this into some stores. I can eventually train some people, and we can be making a couple thousand a day. We
Mhm.
can keep growing this, and it just never got to a point where we were able to do that.
Nope. But, um, there's a lot of lessons. The other thing that I learned too that I found interesting is so, like, on the social media aspect. So, like, we bought really nice cameras because Instagram used to be photography, right? So
Yeah,
we have really nice cameras so we can have really nice photos. Well, when it came reels, it's just photos didn't do anything anymore. You had to post a reel. And so we've had great success with a lot of the reels. But what I've come to realize is it has to be structured in a certain way where your face is in it, and neither of us really wanted to do that. Like, it's got to be, there's rules you got to follow, but also the quality of our cameras is so nice that if you're just scrolling through Instagram and you see our video, you will think it's an ad. It looks like it's got production value behind it.
yeah,
And most people that are like, a lot of the ads you see that you're or videos you see that you share, they're all grainy. They look like they were filmed with a potato, and like everybody makes fun of how shitty the quality is. Those are the videos that explode. High quality videos just don't do well because most people assume it's an ad. It's in your brain. It's not like you look at it and go ad. It's just you see high quality and you're just used to that being an ad, so you swipe. You don't even give it a chance.
yeah,
Um, which is very interesting. So it's like we had to start degrading some of the content, and then it's like, what's the point of filming it and edit? Like, most people do this on their phone. I was filming it, editing reels on the camera because I wanted to put out the best quality, the
yeah,
best stuff. But most of our things that did the best were shot on iPhone.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the video
Matt would
at
spend
Michter's.
a whole week. Yeah, I was gonna. That's the one I was gonna
Yeah.
use. Matt would spend a whole week coming up with an idea. Uh, Sometimes we'd have to meet somewhere to shoot it. We'd film, or he would film with someone, however it had to happen, and then he'd edit, and he'd sometimes get 2 or 3 pieces of content out of it, and it would do okay. But then we'd be on a trip, and we'd throw up a video filmed, with the phone,
Yep.
and it would go viral. And it's
Yeah.
just like how like I could, yeah, it's super frustrating.
Well, it's like I'll give an example because I'm sure nobody looks at it like I do. So, like, our Michter's video, it was filmed at Michter's. It's doing a bottle your own. It has 35,000 likes, 677,000 views, right? And then I did a video with Chef Jeff with Middle West, where slow motion. I made my own soundtrack. Like, this song didn't even exist. I created my own soundtrack for it. I shot it frame by frame for what I wanted to shoot. I did good product placement. Again, they just sent us stuff and we made a video. There was no money exchanged. Um, 3,700 views. Like, it's, and so for me, it's really disheartening because I put all this work and effort into it. And because you're programmed to like shitty, grainy videos by your brain, it's just, I don't know. You realize things like that nobody ever thinks about.
Yeah,
Like, it's really hard. And then people try to, a lot, like, a lot of the reels that people post is just too damn long. You have to shorten it up some. You got to kind of, people lose interest in like 30 seconds. So to show like a video of cooking with bourbon and showcase a brand and do that in under 30 seconds, it takes a lot more thought than you think it does.
yeah.
But it turns out you do better if you just don't give a fuck and just post something shitty and let it go. But that also might be frequency. Everybody says you got to post frequently.
And
I
in
never
order to post
noticed that for
frequently,
us.
yeah, it's different for everybody. And I don't know that frequency is as, you can read comments or people's feedback who are, quote unquote experts on, social media growth and content
Mhm.
creation, and everybody's opinion is different. And it seems to change with the algorithm seems to change every 6 months or so. So what it takes to be viral or go viral also changes. It used to be that you had to post, a ton, really, really frequently. Now that's not so much the case. It used to be that you had to include the right hashtags. Now hashtags barely matter. It used to be that you had to have a certain type of engagement. So comments and replies were huge. So people were pushing bots that did that for you. Well, now that went away, and now it's like watch time and how often people are saving or sharing your stuff. So it's like it just constantly changes how they're promoting stuff. And if you don't have the ability to stay on top of that, it's fucking nearly impossible.
Yeah, it is. Well, since we have all this junk sitting around, and we had talked last episode about doing a giveaway, I think we should just go ahead and do one.
Do it.
So I'm going to share the screen here. We'll do the entire screen. Let's do that one. All right. So we this is for Patreon only. We had people that could pick their own numbers. Some people did, some people didn't. So we're going to fill in these numbers, and I'm probably just going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure I don't do a number that's already been taken. 4, 5, 6. Let's do 20, 21. Oops. So 22 is taken. We'll do 23. Let's do 30. Is 30 taken? 30, 31. I see 32. No, nope, 32. And then, I don't know, 60, 61, 62. Do you want to do some numbers?
45.
45.
99.
99. Good one. We'll do 100 for that one. All right, we got 5 more.
Someone already took 69, of course.
Yeah. 72.
72. Is 91 taken? No.
91. 95. 17 taken? I grew up on
17's good.
17. 85?
Yeah.
All right. There's the numbers. There you go. Here it is. And I think we're going to do the closest number without going over. Is that what we said?
Yeah, probably. That works for me.
All right. So I did there's a duck race. There's 100 ducks in here. I gave it a 30-second time because I figured,
all right,
why not? The start button went away.
Funny as shit.
Oh, I guess I got to reset. All right, 30. Start. Whoa. Click start. Continue to go browsing with wave.com. Oh, I'm not running an installer. That's not happening. All right. Duck race randomize. If I can't do the duck race thing, then we'll do something else. Nope, it's the same thing. Yeah, that's weird that it wants me to install something. So it's 120 seconds set. Yeah, I am not. Sorry, y'all. Oh, yeah, sorry, y'all. I'm not going to install something. So we'll just go to random.org. All right. So minimum 1, max 100, generate 15. Let's see what we got here. Drew is at 12. That's the closest so far. Oh, 13. All right. So we got Rocco as a winner. Let's do another one.
Wait, what number one?
Do what?
That's cool. You just did 13 win?
Yep.
That's Colton, not Rocco.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Colton. Good job, Colton. That's easy. I don't got to ship it. Let's do another one. 88. Oh, shit. Somebody picked 88.
Someone did pick 88.
Brian.
Brian.
Nice. Direct hit. Let's do one more. 45.
Oh, 45. I put that in for someone. That was the first number I picked.
Is it?
It's Logan. First number
sure is Logan. Let's do one more. You want to do one more?
Yep, one more. Sounds good.
75. I think that was a number 2. 72.
76.
Yeah, there we go. So that was Rocco. Rocco got 76. Or 75. All right.
Nice.
Cool. So Colton, Ryan, Brian, Logan, and Rocco You're just gonna get a package in the mail that,
Surprise package.
yeah, don't know what's gonna be in it. Just some stuff. We'll probably ask shirt sizes before I ship it out because there's some shirts in there. Some
So we got
Glens, got like
for
some.
anything that we give away or do anything between now and whenever, we need to make sure we create invoices and zero
Mhm.
them out so we can show that we liquidated everything.
Yeah, for sure. That's the other thing too. If anybody wants anything, we got some hats. We got a bunch of Glencairns. If you want a whiskey and whitetails Glencairn, I'm almost to the point to pay shipping. So shoot us an email info@whiskeyandwhitetails.com with your name and address, and we'll reply back with how much it will cost to ship it to you.
Yep.
So shipping plus a box, and I ship them with koozies, so you get a free koozie on every Glen. I think all
Nice.
the cocktail smokers are gone. I think we have one or two turkey calls left. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm trying to look up there. Yeah, I don't know. Liquidating,
Shutting her down.
which is fun. This is like the fun thing when you just give stuff away.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Now I
Also,
see the allure of company owners that don't have to deal with the numbers or inventory or anything, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're just gonna give away some stuff
yeah,
today. Marketing's gonna hate me for this, but here's what we're
yeah,
doing." I get
yeah.
it now.
Yep, 100%. Got to track it all. It sucks. That's the other thing too. Is if you have an LLC and it's a real business, I mean, you have to file tax. You're supposed to do them monthly, right? But we do them quarterly or something.
You can do them. So sales and use tax has to be filed monthly. You have 30 days after the filing month to get it done. So like at the end of January, you have until the end of February basically to get it finished.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they hit you with the letter that says, "Hey, we're gonna send you a bill for estimated taxes," and then you just go into the website and be like, "No," and do it.
yeah.
It's really fast,
Don't
unless you
estimate
have a
because
shit ton of stuff to report.
right. Yeah, it's a
Just
huge
get
pain.
just hire someone to do it all for you if you can afford it. That's the way to go.
Yeah, we we've been hiring people to do our taxes at the end of the year, but it's even that. I mean, it's all everything you do in business is a struggle because I think there's so many people. It's hard to say. It's like I want to give good advice, but it's like all of my advice would be like, don't do it unless you absolutely fucking want to, because we
But
did,
look,
we
here's
were
the thing.
hungry for it and it just beat us up, man. We went through the washing machine with us.
Yeah, I tell you what, like people who who do startups like in tech industry or anything else, and they grind it out for 5 or 10 years, and they take on investors and things like that, and they grind through and they make it. Fuck, man, more power to those people because it takes
Mhm.
a different kind of person to do and deal with the sacrifices and the bullshit and the letdowns because you're gonna have some highs, some really high highs in business, but man, the lows fucking suck.
Yeah.
And there's almost as many, if not more, lows than there are highs.
And the other
Um,
thing too is like we, in the beginning of this, I know I was programmed. Most people, and please don't anybody take this the wrong way. I don't. This is my personal journey in
uh-oh.
life, and I'm sharing my personal journey with you, which I normally wouldn't do, but I had the drive, like wanted it, And since a little kid, and we all had that dream. One day I'll be a millionaire. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business guy, and like I'm going to start stuff. And it is awesome going places and people know who you are, and then like, oh, nice to meet you, and people ship us stuff. All that stuff is cool, but just my recent journey through life has really changed my outlook and perception on that. Like, I'm just not sure that it's right for I know it's not right for me, but like, I'll give you for instance, I have a friend, nothing to do with whiskey and whitetails. It's just an actual person I've known for a long time. I haven't seen him in a while, and something popped up in my Instagram feed of his, and I was looking at it, and he had posted that he was leaving his job and starting a new career, and or not a new career, but a new company. He's a contractor like we are. But in the comments, he was like, "I feel really bad for leaving everybody, and I've treated you like family. I've sacrificed so much to be here, and I've driven so hard, and all the late nights and the trips away, and like my family suffered from me not being around, so I could chase my dream of being successful and all." I'm reading it, and it just made me sick to my stomach. It's like,
Yeah.
ew, it's just so fucking crazy that you would that I mean, and I was that way. I'm not trying to, but that you would dedicate your life to a company that probably doesn't give a shit about you, and so you're letting your family suffer so that you can chase a dream and never be home and just on the road and doing sales and just to me, knowing that there's no payoff. If you're a business owner, totally different thing. Like you're growing a business and like that's
Yeah.
important. But if you just work for someone and you're dedicating your life to their success, it's so gross and off-putting to me.
Yeah.
And
I
again,
think,
I'm not mad at anyone that does it. We all have our own personal life and journey. It's just my journey has shown me that I think the thing that's important in life or the meaning of life is probably just to experience it and be happy.
yeah,
And that's what I want to do now.
you nailed it. And that's what I was going to say is, if you're a person who is driven to pursue, a certain type of career or a certain level, in a career or business ownership, and whatever sacrifices come along with that, the highs, the lows, and you're truly happy,
Yeah.
then fucking do it and
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 also
keep doing it.
huge payoff as the owner. I mean, we know someone that's listening to this right now that he is doing it. He's never home. He works his ass off, but he's getting ready to be set for life. I mean,
Fucking
millions of dollars. And I'm
he's
super proud of him. Happy
busted his
for him.
balls for years,
Yeah.
but it's coming to fruition. And so, like, if you've got that drive and you've got that goal and you've got that opportunity, right? Because those opportunities don't present themselves to everybody.
Right.
Sometimes they present themselves, sometimes you make them happen. But nonetheless, if you're happy, like truly happy, like you go home at the end of the day or the hotel wherever you are, and you put your head on the pillow and you're happy, then keep fucking doing it. But
Yeah.
when you come home or you sign off for the day and you're not happy,
And you're just like,
then it's it's
fuck.
it's it's time to start looking at like what it is you're doing. And
Yeah.
Matt and I both got to a point where a lot of the business stuff, because of some of the challenges that we were discussing earlier with marketing and the inability to kind of grow things like we wanted to, some of the challenges we were seeing with the downfall in the economy, a couple years after COVID sort of hit. Because initially after COVID, things were great because everybody was stuck inside, but
Yeah. Everybody
things
wanted to make
changed.
cocktails at home. And we were that drug dealer.
But when inflation hit the last couple years and people were having to decide, like, am I going to spend discretionary like money and extra money on a cocktail smoker, or do I need to make sure I can get some fucking milk, eggs, and bread for my kids?
Yeah.
Like, we and not just us, a lot of
The
small
bourbon industry
businesses.
saw it too.
Oh
You
yeah,
can find stuff on shelves right now. There's stuff out there because people just aren't
and
buying it.
we weren't the only one. We walked around the
Yeah.
market for 2 years, and asking people, "Hey, how's it going? Like, how are sales? Like, how are things going?" And it was always the same thing. There's good days and bad days. Good weekends, and that's the same all the time,
Hmm.
right? But we went from having where a good weekend was a couple $1,000s of
Hmm.
sales on a Friday night alone, to we were lucky if we were covering our booth fee.
Yeah. There was times that we would sit there all, what was our booth fee? $50 or something?
75 bucks, 50
75
bucks,
bucks.
depending on where we were at.
We'd have nights where we'd make like approaching 2 grand, like 1700, 1800 bucks in 4 hours, which is pretty good. And
Yeah.
then we would have nights where it costed us money to be there. And that is a gut punch. Gut punch.
Yeah, and when that is coupled with, uh, my wife and kids are going out to dinner and then going to the park without me.
Yeah.
My son has an event that, I'm missing. Like, when there's no payoff for it, it starts to get harder and harder to do. And so, what happened over the years is that Matt and I realized pretty quickly that the business side of things, from the that sales wasn't what we were really into. We enjoyed this part. We
Yep.
enjoyed doing events, doing classes, and this podcast. And what we realized was that, as this business has gone on and our lives have gone on, Matt's got some opportunities, and Matt has bought property in Kentucky. It's no secret that he's moving. My wife and I want to do the same thing. We've got some kids and a kid graduating high school, and so our timetable is a year or two behind Matt and Andy, but we want to do the same thing, and we just need to be focusing on prioritizing different things and dedicating the time and the effort and the money and the sacrifices to keeping that business going was not going to be conducive to making those things happen.
Yeah.
But we don't have to have the full-fledged business in order to sit here
Yeah.
and
YouTube's free. We can do this
take
for
a
free.
pot and make a podcast and
Yeah.
shoot the shit. We don't need a business to uh, go hang out with people that we've met
Right.
and exploit those friendships and those opportunities. And so, it quickly came to real. We had some long, long, heartfelt conversations.
We've been
It
turmoiling
was
with for 6,
multiple.
7 months, I think.
Well, I think we've been on and off with it for 2 years, and then over the last
Yeah.
6 or 7 months, it's been more like, "Hey, you
Let's
know,
let's wrap it up.
is this the time? Like, oh, have we gotten to that point? Well, let's just see what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Let's just do this." And then it's just gotten to a point now where the juice just ain't worth the squeeze, for what we want to get out of this, and
Yeah.
we don't need all the other things that the business is in order to continue to take advantage of the things we do, and that's really what it boils down to is, being happy and enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Being happy.
So that's where we're at, and
I also
I
was
think
gonna say about the manifesting, like, if you like they say if you manifest an idea in your head, that's how they happen. Like, you have to want it and think about it, and you manifest it in the world. The universe will provide it. So
mhm,
I've always been like, yeah, it's bullshit. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I figured it out. What it is, is if you have an idea and you manifest it, and I see myself in Kentucky. I see the house. I can see the house. I can see the garden, the chickens. I can see it in my head. And because I manifest, I keep thinking about it. What happens is my life choices are now revolved around that. So it's not the muse or something making it happen for me. It's me and my wife making it happen because we have this vision. And in order to get there, there's a lot of steps. And it's like, I've never built a house before. I've had nothing but hiccups. I had one today. Like, I've purchased the land because I was trying to do it all one thing. Well, it turns out construction loans take forever. So the seller of the land was like, listen, dude, you know, I'm going to find somebody else. So it's like, okay, I got to take a loan land out, which turns out not that huge of a deal. It's not actually as expensive as I thought it was going to be, but it's fine. So I take the loan land out. Then I start trying to get the land cleared. Well, they can't clear until the rain stops and the winter goes away because the ground has got to be softer. So I just went out to Kentucky on Monday and I
mhm.
spent Monday, Tuesday there. And I was up there. They came in with a dozer. They started clearing it, and it was awesome to see it like coming. Like I can see it now. Like the driveway's coming up. I drove up my driveway, and it's like right. So I'm gone now. So they've been there 2 days working. Last night he was grading a spot where the house goes. He was grading it. Well, not grading it, but making it smooth.
Mhm.
And they uncovered a spring.
Oh,
So
shit.
awesome, right? But also I can't build there now. So and I spent my nest egg. I have spent what I've saved. I don't have any more money to pay to clear anything else. So, it's a setback. I'm going to have to save again and have him come back out there again to clear a new spot and hope that
Yeah.
there's not a spring there. But it's like you can choose to get upset about it, or you can be like, you know what, that was the missing part, was how was I going to get water? Because there's no city water there. So I was
Yeah.
going to do a cistern and collect rainwater. Well, now I got a fresh water source literally where my house is going to be. So it's a positive, but it's also like I learned it in the worst possible way I could. I achieved a spring in the worst possible way I could achieve it.
Well, you
So
should
now my house location changes, and I didn't pick that house location because I liked it there. It was a direction that shot between two mountains to face the rising sun, so that I would get sun every morning. And it's so now we don't know where the house is going to go at this point.
yeah.
I'm going to have to clear more land to put the house in. But in the plus side, I've got a huge cleared area now with a spring on it and a beautiful driveway. Um,
Is there any way you probably have to talk to an engineer or an architect. Is there any way to build the house there still and incorporate is there enough integrity in the land to incorporate the spring into the house like that one house you sent me the picture of where the
yeah,
water runs through the house?
yeah.
Because that would be
I
cool as
mean,
shit.
I thought about that, but we don't know for sure. And this is the other positive: is this may not be a year-round spring. It might just be the water. The tables are so high because of the snow and the melt
Sure.
and the rain. So there's water now. If we hadn't have dug up that today, if we had waited till midsummer to dig that up, and then we built a house on it, and then the
Oh
spring
shit.
came around, and I had water seeping in through the concrete floors, you know, I would have been
Yeah.
fucked because at that point the house would have been built. So it's
Right.
also like it's how awesome that it happened now and not later. So there's like it basically balances itself out. It's as negative as it is positive, and so my brain is just doesn't really think about it. It's just all right. Well, we gotta overcome this obstacle, but
Right.
it's all because of the it's it's a good thing. It's just going to cost me a little bit more money, and
Yeah.
that sucks because the whole point of this is to stop having to spend money. So, so
Well,
it pushes my timeline back a little bit. But you know what? I was already cutting it close because we were already looking at November because I
Yeah,
can't move in the winter because of the snow. So it's like now we're looking at next spring to move
sure.
in. It sucks. Maybe that won't happen, but that's what I'm planning on now is next spring,
Yeah,
which is also good because housing market is better in the spring than in the fall and the winter. It's really hard to sell shit in the winter.
yeah.
So maybe this was all, you know,
It'll
it's
work.
strange.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strangeness about this that
I think
like
with anything, this entire situation you're describing, you could be super pessimistic and look at all of it from a pessimist point of view,
mhm,
or you can, like you just did, you can break it down from, well, yeah, but look at all the opportunities. Look at all the potential things that we just saved ourselves from.
you're right.
Um, it's all about perspective.
And the other
And
thing too is like the last episode we talked about like maybe Earth is a school and you're supposed to
yeah,
just like enjoy it. I think about that a lot, man. It's like, why would I allow myself to get upset with this? Why don't I just enjoy the journey? Like this is a new hurdle to come over. And
yeah,
then I think about that Jocko thing. Good.
good.
Like mission was canceled. Good. We have more time to train. It's
Yeah,
like I have a hurdle here. Good. I have more time to think about how I actually want to do this. I'm not rushing it now because my timeline's been bumped.
right.
It's like so every negative thing that happens, it's kind of like cool. I'm glad I'm figuring it out now and not 2 years from now when it's all said and done.
For sure. For
But
sure. Do you think random thought sidebar because we haven't done one of these rabbit holes in a while.
hell
Do you
yeah,
think if indeed this earth is a school, right? And there's a our souls or whatever are going to leave here and go back to our galactic friends somewhere and they're going to be like, "How was it?" Eh, do you think people that kill themselves, they get a failing grade and have to come back or
I do. Yeah, I
or
think you
do you
start
think
over. I really
or do
do.
you or do you think it's like you get there and they're like back early, huh? Shit's crazy, right? Like, you
Yeah,
had enough? You had
maybe.
enough? Like, we
Yeah.
get it.
You wanna tap out, and then you're like, "Damn it, I fell for it." It's like that's what I was saying, like, it fixed my we all have suicidal thoughts, whether you act on them or get close to acting on them, that's where help and therapy comes in, but we all think about opening the car door, driving down the interstate, jumping out, and then you
Look
cringe, and you're like, "Ugh, that would
look,
hurt."
there are days where it's like, all this shit going on, it would just be a lot easier to just, whatever that is for you, right? There's a difference between going, "Fuck, man, what a day." Sure
Yeah,
would there's a difference between that and sitting by yourself, abusing substances or whatever, and making plans. Those are
yeah,
2 completely different things. I
yep.
think everyone is like, "Fuck, man, I would love to just step in front of a bus
Yeah,
today."
wish when is this over? I'm
Yeah,
sick of
but
it.
that's different than the
Yeah.
obsessing over how and when and where and making plans, and if you're in that state, please get help for the love
Yeah,
of
you need
call
help for sure. Call somebody, get help. And also maybe this will help. A lot of people look at religion like, "Oh, well, it's pretty easy. I kill myself, I go to heaven." And so the Bible says that you don't no longer have jewels to present to Jesus when you go to heaven if you believe in
got my
Christianity.
nuts.
So I guess you do now. Anyway, it's that was a fun inside joke. But if if that's your thought, it's like that's a dangerous thought. Like for me, I feel like if this is whatever this is, we all believe the same thing. There's something after this, right? It's whether you believe in religion or you don't or whatever.
Yeah,
It's probably something after this. You can't prove any of them. I know people say you can, but you can't. And I think it's important to think of it that way. It's like, just try it out, dude. You see what happens, unless it's like super like if you get terminal cancer, that's a different story. But if life just is if you're down in the dumps or whatever, that's really dumb to kill yourself. Like you should try and think about moving forward. But there's things in life that you learn lessons. Like I
mhm,
told Gus this. This is a private conversation that I'm sharing just because since we're talking about mental health. I had the realization the other day that I am worth at this moment in life when I sign this loan to get this construction loan to build this house. Once I sign it, if I died 20 seconds later, my wife would be able to
my
pay off
life.
she'd be able to pay off the construction loan. She'd be able to sell this house and pull $300,000 worth of equity out of it, and she would get an extra $250,000 from my work. So she would end up getting almost $1 million, a place to live for free forever, and could rent this place out and have residual income. I am worth more dead in my current situation for my wife dead than I am alive. And that it took me a while to process. I mean, that's a difficult thought because I think about how hard I'm struggling right now to get the loan, get the financing. Now I got to clear more land. It's like it's just money, money, money.
Yeah,
And I would recommend that you don't think about shit like that because it can set you back a little bit. But eventually, you just ponder it for a little while and you realize, well, she'd be miserable if that happened. So it's
And
again,
you sent
life is
me
experiences. You should walk through it and
yeah,
enjoy it.
you sent me that thought, and my response was, "Yeah," and she'd be fucking miserable the whole time.
Hmm.
I mean, and it's but you're not wrong. Like I think,
Right. And when you said that, I didn't respond because I'm like, yes, Gus, I fucking know she'd be just let me be sad. Okay. You don't need to always try to make me feel better.
I
No,
wasn't trying to make you feel
I do
better.
appreciate that you do.
Um,
Brotherly
yeah,
love.
man, it's true though. Like yeah,
Yeah.
it is it'll fuck with you, but
The point is, life is supposed to be enjoyed. So when you have hiccups, fucking find a way to enjoy them. See the goods in it. And sometimes just being still, just sitting somewhere without touching anything. Close your eyes. Don't move. Like I'm fidgety. I'm touching everything. I'm over here playing with highlighters for no reason because I'm just always like, gotta touch and feel something. But if I force myself to sit down, hold my hands, or put my hands on my thighs, whatever, close my eyes and just sit there with no time limit. Just sit here until you're tired, until you're done. And it's been so beneficial for me.
mhm.
I'm
It's
just in a
hard though.
different path in life.
It's hard.
It is.
You have to like really shut your brain wants to be like,
Yeah,
but
it
but but
runs.
but this and you just gotta be like, shut the fuck up.
Like what I do is my therapist told me to just see it as a movie. Like don't address it, just watch it. So as the
Yeah.
thoughts come in, just watch the next thought, next thought. Like eventually you think and it's like, whatever. I just don't address it. Don't engage. And then eventually it stops. And when it stops and you notice it stops, it starts over. So don't
Mhm.
notice it stops. You can't notice anything. You just have to sit there. And it takes a long time to figure it out, but I've gotten
Yeah.
pretty damn good at it. And I enjoy it. It's like meditation is one of my favorite things right now. And I always thought it was, what losers did before they read
Woo
their
woo.
horoscope. Like,
Or they read their horoscope and pet their crystals.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you're like, crystals are dumb. That's gay. And then you
And
start
and
reading
and
about crystals and you're like, oh
and then
shit.
I was gonna say, folks, this is where after we hit done recording, he's gonna be like, so let me tell you about crystals, bro.
Let me talk about crystals. Well, I haven't done the crystal thing, but I think that if you pull it off the land, like for instance, my property, if I were to find a crystal on my property and hold it, a
Mhm.
crystal, because crystals do have, I mean, that's how watches work. They do emit stuff under
Sure.
pressure. You pressure it, and they do emit an electrical pulse. Again, that's like crystal watches is how they work. It's pressurized crystal, and it pulses, and that's what keeps the time. There's instances where people have created power with it. There's something to it, you know. I don't know what it is. I'm not over here saying like everybody should go buy crystal. I think a lot of these woo woo stores are full of shit. But I think if you find a crystal on your property and you sit down with it and hold it and just meditate, maybe there's something there. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm going to one day.
We'll buy you a crystal necklace.
Well, I learned that. So the bee thing.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. How'd
when I
that
put
go? Dude, we were almost an hour in and we haven't really talked about
fucking,
anything.
I know we've just been talking to each other. This is our conversation. This is why I like podcasting because you and I are just talking. And I'll stay here as long as you want. I don't give a shit.
I got nothing else to do.
Sick. All right. So the bee thing. So I've been making mead, right? And so I posted on my personal story last night, which is like, I don't allow anyone in there. I mean, there's like 70 follow requests. People I know. I'm
Yeah.
good. So, so don't look for it because it's not going to happen. And it has nothing to do with you it's not anything to do with anybody. It's just, I just fucking don't care. But I posted it on there mainly for like, it's easier to me to post it on Instagram than it is for me to text it to you and text it to people. So I just put it
Mhm.
on there. You guys all see it. So what I said was, it's me in a beekeeper suit with this mentor, this old lady that's teaching me how to do it. Super ancient old lady, by the way. And all I said was, I guess this is the next logical step for me. Because and I thought that was hilarious because it's like, of course, that's where it would end up, you know? And my mother-in-law said something about it. And I was like, it's so crazy because when I met your daughter, uh, in 2005, 20 years ago, I never would have been like, yeah, someday we'll have a property in Kentucky with no cell phone service and I'll be keeping bees and growing my own food. Like I never would have thought this is who I would become. I mean, never, never. But bees, man, they're so crazy. And then when you think about them as like an example for life, for instance, all
Mhm.
right, so these bees. So bees don't hibernate. And I know most people know that, but for when she said I knew that, but when she said bees don't hibernate, it like struck a chord. It's like fuck, they spend all winter in the hive like chilling, you know? So
Yeah.
they store all this honey in there so they can eat through the winter. And all they care about is the queen. So the queen releases a smell and all these bees are attracted to it and they come and they swarm around her. So you capture that swarm and then you put it in a beehive and the queen is comfortable in there and she does her thing. So if the queen lays 1,500 eggs a day, which they can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day, which is insane. So if she lays 1,500 eggs a day, that means 1,500 bees die a day. She's replacing what dies, and
So
it's
she's able to tell, like, what the
yeah,
attrition is?
somehow.
Yeah,
It's
probably some
fucking
sort of
crazy. But there's like you can't approach a beehive like they have one opening and you can't walk straight into the opening. They see that as a threat. You have to come from the side because the bees don't do that. They come in from the side, they land and they crawl in the opening. If you
mhm.
come straight at it, they see it as a threat and they attack. If you wear black, they will attack you. Do you know why?
No, why?
Bears.
Oh, fuck off, really?
Crazy, right? It's like there's something in it. So these bees will not leave the hive if it's under 50 degrees. So if you have a long winter, they will hold up their excrement until they die. They will die in there. They won't fucking shit inside their house because they respect the queen so much. So it's like
Yeah,
everything they do is for her,
it's
and
very honorable.
she's just a little bit bigger than they are, and she has so many eggs, and she gets fat. She can't even fly. So what you'll notice is they start changing the hive behavior, and the queen will start to lose weight because she's going to leave. And when that happens, it's already done. The hive has already decided we're leaving. Like we're not staying
Oh,
here any longer. So you can't fix it. So like the trick is to kind of try to move them into a different hive, or they'll swarm and you recapture the swarm, put them back. But they release this pheromone. So the bee smoker thing that
yeah,
you smoke, the whole point of that is to mask the pheromone they release. So they have
okay.
one for danger. And the smell in that bee suit, you're sitting there, you take the hive off, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And they just start freaking out, and they go, you know, and they're making all this noise. They emit this pheromone, and she told me she was like, "Don't get freaked out when you smell it." Because it's gonna change your mind. It's gonna get you high. It's gonna be weird. And I was like, okay. They release this smell, and as I'm standing there smelling it, it smells good. Like it's like a smell I've never smelled before.
Uh-huh.
And then you feel this calmness and almost like a nicotine buzz, and it's
What?
just like it just feels amazing. And you're just standing there smelling this pheromone. And to me, that's what got me. It's like taking a pill. It's
I wonder if that
so weird.
I wonder if that mechanism, that pheromone is designed to relax or lower the aggression of whatever is trying
Probably.
to attack it.
That makes sense. That probably is exactly what it is to make them calm down.
And I was just thinking, if the queen is reproducing, you mentioned the buzz that they create. I wonder if she is able to tell the loss based on the change in frequency or vibration level of
Probably,
the hive.
probably.
This is super fascinating.
It's wild, dude. I never thought that I would give a fuck about bees, but it is mind blowing. They operate in a way that's like a computer program. Like it's binary. It's
Mhm.
on and off. I mean, that's it. They don't. They know what they want. They know what they need, and you can try to supplement some things, but they're easily tricked. So there's this, I think it's called Hot Shot or something. No, I don't know. There's this thing that you can put in there
Mhm.
that smells like a queen, and it attracts them, and it like I said, they're on or off. It's like either if they smell it, they're coming in, or like they don't smell it, they leave. But you can build swarms, she showed me how to find them, and it's like birds. You see a bunch of birds flocking in a tree in the
Yeah.
springtime. If you go look, there's probably a swarm there because the birds will come in and eat all the bees. But it's like she had one in her yard. I walked right by it, didn't even see it.
Oh,
There's a
really?
massive black ball of bees sitting in her front yard in this tree, and she's like, that's what she wanted me to come help her with was to
To move?
capture the swarm.
Oh,
So
wow.
like we dig through, find the queen, put the queen in a little box, and then you put it in this hive, and all the bees just like follow her in there. And then we took it in her backyard and we transport it into another thing. Um,
How'd you
dude,
find
it's
this
so
lady?
fascinating. So I was looking up events in Charleston because
Uh-huh.
we hired a new guy and I was showing him this event page, and I saw because I've always been interested, you know, and I buy a lot of honey, obviously, and I've
Mhm.
noticed that like Costco store bought honey makes shit mead. Like you have to have nice honey. Um, But anyway, I saw a thing. It was a Charleston area bee expo. I think it's April 12th, and it's up by you. It's at that what's that garden right by you?
Oh, Cypress Gardens?
Yeah, Cyrus Garden. So I think that's where. Yeah, April 12th, the Honeybee Expo.
Oh,
So I
cool.
was like, cool. So I was like, I would love to go to that because I want to learn about bees anyway. I had actually already bought a bee suit because I was going to take care of a wasp nest, and
Yeah.
they ended up leaving. But so I found this, and it was put on by the Charleston Area Beekeepers Association, and they call them CABA. So I joined CABA. It's like $15 a year, and I started getting emails about like events they're doing. So I went to they had an oyster roast last weekend. So I went to the oyster roast, and I was like, I'm brand new. I'm into it, and I'm moving to Kentucky, and I want to be able to grow bees out there or raise bees or whatever. Have an apiary, and they are just the nicest fucking people.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't agree on anything political, religious. Like we don't agree on anything except bees, and that's all we talk about here. We don't talk about anything else. And you can tell. I mean, there's like guys that look like they golf with Trump, and then there's people that look like they protest, you know, churches or whatever. I mean, it's like it's such a wide. I mean, there's purple haired people, there's old
Yeah.
people with Rolexes. I mean, but they all just come together to raise bees, and they're like, we're glad you're here, and you're gonna figure out why we're all here soon. And I didn't know what that meant, but I'm like, yeah, fucking cool bees.
Uh-huh.
I just really wanted honey, but now I like really respect this creature. They're insane, man. They're
That's
so
cool.
cool, and
If you wanna
I've scratched the surface. I'm nowhere even near.
Yeah. If you wanna go to that expo, let me know.
I am going.
We have a year pass, so we get in with our pass. We just show our pass, and the whole vehicle gets in. If you and Andy want to go, we'll load everybody up in the truck or whatever. It's just like a couple miles down the road. Um,
Let me pull this up, see where it's at. So our location is Magnolia Park and Community Gardens, 720 Magnolia Road. Oh wait, no, never mind. That's it, Magnolia Plantation. Sorry, I thought it was up there by you. Is
oh,
that
it's at
right?
Magnolia Plantation. Never mind that. That's not
This
near
may
me.
not be right. Well, I don't know. There's an address right here. Our location for the expo is Magnolia Park and Community Garden. I think that's in West Ashley.
Magnolia Park.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's in
Oh,
Avondale. No shit. I really thought it was up by you.
oh,
Never
okay.
mind.
Well, never
So
mind.
it's in Avondale. If you want to go, you should definitely go. It's really cool.
The kids might enjoy it. I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of shit there, honey stuff, and
Yeah. I'm hoping to be able to get some honey. And also, I didn't realize this, but so like when you make mead, you basically do like a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every gallon is 3 pounds of honey, and you can do 2 pounds or 5 pounds. I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's like you want to bet on around three. Um, so like to buy a lot of honey comes in 6 pound jugs. Like
mhm.
they look like a 1 liter jug. It's like 6 pounds of honey, and I think that's around 20-30 bucks or so. So they were telling me that these hives, they'll produce each hive will produce between 80 and 120 pounds of honey twice a year.
Damn.
Yeah, I know, it's fucking mind blowing. So it's like if I have 10, 15 hives and I really take this serious and get into it, I mean, I'll have so much damn honey.
Do you follow Bo on Instagram?
I don't.
I'll send you. He has I can't remember if it's his personal page or he has like a page for like his farm, Southern Point Farm.
Hmm.
Uh, but he does a bunch of beekeeping with his kids, and they jar their own honey and everything. He'd be a
Dope.
person you could talk to about it for sure.
100%. It
Even
sucks
go
he's
out
all the
there.
way in Wamalo, but
Yeah,
I
he
would
is
go.
way the hell out there. But I was gonna say if he needs help with stuff, he may be willing to show you some stuff out there.
Yeah, I
Got a
would be
bunch
down
of
for
it.
that. I'll shoot him a text.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd 100% do that. That's how I found this lady is I basically was like, I will trade because it's mostly older people, obviously.
Yeah. Oh,
But
and
I said, I
his
go
wife
ahead.
is from Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Like they go visit her family. Like they have Angus beef,
Oh, yeah.
cows.
Where?
I don't know where. That's the
Oh,
thing.
interesting. But yeah, I told him I was like, I will trade labor for knowledge. Like if you got heavy boxes to move or I'll do the labor. I'll do all the hard work. You do the B stuff and just teach it to me.
Yeah.
And they were all like 100%. Yeah, like you're gonna come work for free. Like I don't got to pay you. I'm like, no, I'll just come do
Just
it for
want to
free.
learn.
I was like, all I require is you talk to me, teach me. I don't want to show up and do all the work and you not talk. Just talk nonstop. And she did. Her name's Dorothy, which is awesome. She said that she said she is the yellow brick road. That's what she
Yeah.
said for me and my hunting journey. And I'm
Okay.
like, And I'm like, that's really cool. And then she was talking about there's this thing called Hives for Heroes, which is a
Mhm.
veteran charity for beehives.
Oh,
And
cool.
she was like, you should join it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll join it. So I joined it last night. But I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock. She sent an email to the guy that owns it and CC'd me and was like, I'm going to become Matt's mentor. And I am so excited to be able to help a veteran and all this stuff. Like, this is the sweetest fucking email, man.
That's cool,
And
man.
she was like, this is something I've always wanted to do to support, a veteran and teach them and be a mentor and share my life experiences and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm reading it and I'm like, fuck, what a
That's cool,
cool
man.
lady.
Yeah, man, that is cool. She seemed really sweet in the picture. Seems like a grandma almost. You just kinda
Hmm.
just wanna hang out with and learn shit from. Shit from, it
Yep.
sounds terrible to say it like that, but, um, that's cool, man. I'm glad you're getting to do that. That's really freaking cool.
Bee
Um,
thing is dope if you have a way to do it. I also noticed that I didn't realize it, but across the street from me, a local company that does events
uh-huh.
rented this building, and I noticed that they had dug up the back of it, but I didn't know what for. And then Andy was like, "Did you see that they're planting flowers out there so that they have flowers for their own events?" I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, cool."
nice.
And then I thought, I wonder if they'd let me put bees out there
Oh,
because I've
yeah.
already been offered bees. Like I could start tomorrow if I wanted to
Yeah,
have my own.
there's one of the it's I won't say that it's very common, but, they probably a handful of them get done a year for, in the council for scouts around here.
Hmm.
Eagle Scouts will plant, and install pollinator gardens in certain areas where it includes a number of flowers and plants that are beneficial for honeybees, other types of
Oh,
bees, and
internet lags.
butterflies.
111.
Am I am I still there? You didn't cut out. That's weird.
I don't know if you can hear me, but oh, you're back.
You didn't cut out at all. Like
No.
I no, I watched you talk about how my internet went out, and you grabbed
Oh,
your notepad and went on left. But
well,
what I was saying is
fuck it, I'll leave it in.
they plant these gardens full of flowers and plants that are beneficial for bees and
Hmm.
not only bees but butterflies, things like that
Yeah.
that are struggling, um, and they do really well. They do really well.
Would they want to like get into beehive stuff?
Maybe. I know Gavin's school, one of his friends did an Eagle Scout project where they planted a pollinator garden there, and they have beehives on,
Hmm.
and they do like a beekeeping class at his school, his high school. Um,
I don't know that I'm committed enough to drive to the tea plantation to do this, but because the roads here,
yeah,
as you know, people have moving here in droves. It's hard to go anywhere here anymore. But the
it's hard
road
to go
to
anywhere
Johns
up
Island
here.
is impossible. Dude, Colton
Yeah,
told me. Colton told me like 2 days ago. He's like, "We don't have that problem in Monk's Corner." I was like, "Don't you fucking lie to me."
bullshit, dude. It is so stupid up here
It's
anymore.
crazy.
Like it is so bad. I mean, they are building houses on top of houses on top of They're
Yeah.
already having to build a new elementary school not far from here because there's just too many fucking people.
When was the last time you went by James shop?
Oh, I drive by there all the time.
Dude, that's insane. I hadn't been there for like a year, and then when I went there to do her water pump,
Yeah, you're talking about all
um,
the new development up and
oh my
down
god, there's
Main Street there?
15 apartment complexes there.
Dude,
There's a
apartment
huge
complexes.
neighborhood they're building. That was the sticks. That was out in the middle of nowhere 2 years ago.
Yeah. Dude, out here by my house where, they built that Publix a couple years ago,
Yeah, you are in the middle of nowhere too. Well,
it
kinda.
it used to be, like,
Yeah.
there's a Publix there, there's a Dog and Duck and a bunch of restaurants there. They across the way, closer to the kids' school, in the last year, they've put up a Dunkin' Donuts, uh, East Bay Deli, a Wendy's, a
Mm.
McDonald's, a Waffle House. They're getting ready to build a Panda Express, and then behind that is going another shopping center where they're gonna have, like, Marshalls and a bunch of other shit. Like, it's turning
This place
into
is ruined. Do
dude, it's
not move
ruined.
here. It's
It's just
greed.
yeah, man.
Andy's like, "What makes me mad is it's all greed." It's just developers see like, "Oh, Charleston won best city with build." And so 1,000 developers had the same idea. These aren't even locals that are doing it. They
Yeah.
literally came in here, bought up land, and just developed it. I drove to my old neighborhood and I thought about,
I drove
I
by there the other day.
what the fuck, dude? It's crazy.
It's wild.
It's insane. I thought about going and getting Andy and making her wear a hood the whole way there, and then just pulling over on the side of the road and be like, "Take your hood off. Where are we?" And she'd be like, "I don't fucking know."
I don't know. Yeah.
You would
It's
never guess it was where I
crazy.
used to live.
I had to
Remember
take
that was all woods, and now
I
it's like
know.
these condos. These condos are what, 15 feet wide, and there's 1,000 of them.
Oh, I don't know, dude. They're stacked on top of each other. There's every time I so I have to drive out by that way a few times a year during the spring because Gavin has soccer games against high schools out in that direction.
Mhm.
Traffic was really bad on was it 17 that leads to
Yep, to
Limehouse.
Johns Island.
So it took us down was that Glen McConnell and down
Yeah,
to
the
the
McConnell to
bot
Bees Ferry.
yeah. And I hadn't been down there in a long time. And I almost didn't if I didn't know where I was at,
100
I would not have recognized
I
it.
almost drove straight by the dump because I was like, "What the f" I
Yeah,
just
it's
could
yeah.
not believe it.
The apartment complexes there. Like,
Yeah.
I missed the turn left where that gas station is
Mhm.
because I was too busy looking around at all this shit that did not exist
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. And luckily that road just keeps going and it ends up at the same road anyways, but it's everywhere, dude, and you
Yep.
can't drive anywhere. Um, at least twice a week, we drive our kids to school. They don't take the bus. It's a short enough drive, and we enjoy the time hanging out with them and in the vehicle and but at least twice a week, either at the main intersection there on, 52 or, there's another exit a little bit further down. There's an accident at least twice a week.
Oh, yeah. The other thing I
It's
noticed too is I know I'm not the only one that had so I quit riding motorcycles because it's just too fucking dangerous. Have you noticed that you rarely see motorcycles now? This area is so bad that everyone that owned a motorcycle was like, "Nope."
I'll tell you where I see them the most. At Dog and Duck is about the only place I see them because
Mhm.
people can ride from their little neighborhoods here down
Mhm.
this one little road, Cypress Gardens Road, and turn into the shopping center, and they don't have to get on any main roads.
Mhm.
It's motorcycles and, people drive their big jacked
Golf
up
cart shit.
ATVs and golf carts
Yeah.
because it's close enough to do that. But no, dude, I don't see a lot of
Outside of that,
motorcycles at
you
all.
don't see them ever.
It's crazy. It's you're almost out of your mind to drive a
Mhm.
motorcycle around here.
Crazy. That's why I got rid of both of mine. It's like I just can't. There's so you remember when I bought that Honda a long time ago?
Yeah.
Somebody pulled out in front of me on 17, right by Beast, right where that you were talking about that gas station. Somebody
Mhm.
pulled out in front of me right there, and I locked it up. I don't know how I didn't skid out, and I drove. I had to pull over, and I was shaking. Like I could not even. There's no way I could drive. I had to calm down. I like limped it home, and I
Yeah.
sold it immediately. And then 3 or 4 years went by, and I got the craving. Got another one, and it's been fine because I can ride out to Folly. It's
Yeah.
been, like, cold outside, but I ran out to Folly and ride back, that it fixes my need to be on a motorcycle thing, but somebody pulled out in front of me, and it's
Yeah.
same and I just decided I'm not scared to die, but I don't wanna die yet, and
Yeah.
and I think it's really stupid to do it on a motorcycle and here, I'm just talking about Charleston, I'm not talking about
Yeah.
anywhere else.
When I moved to this area 16 years ago, Folly Road was dead most of the time.
Mhm. Desolate.
Now
There's still
you have
farms out here.
you have maybe a few months a year, and during those few months, maybe a couple hours during the day where you can have a nice bike ride or go for a run.
Yeah.
Any other time of the day, it's damn near at a standstill.
It's fucked. It's every because the problem here is they don't know how to time lights. Like big cities know how to time lights. Like we let
Like
these lights go in succession, so when this one stops, that one stops.
yeah,
Like not immediately. You let the people get through, then the light stops. But what happens here is they all like kind of stop at the same time. So it's just like gridlock moving from stoplight to stoplight, and
mhm,
there's never any reprieve.
yeah.
And the
The other
construction, they closed Riverland.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's fucked. You can't that's where she lives off Riverland. I had to go all the way down Folly Road and cut it over off Maybank and come back up to get in there. And
Wow.
it took me dude, that is 8 miles from here. It took me 45 minutes to get there.
Oh, I believe it. I
It's
believe it, dude.
crazy.
It took me we had to get to, well, when we drove to that high school, then we drove by West Ashley. It was, St. John's High School right there, like 2 minutes over the Limehouse Bridge.
Yeah.
It's the high school's right there. From Monk's Corner, it took us an hour and 20 minutes to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's asinine. The thing that drives me nuts about South Carolina in this area is they put up homes, apartments, condos, and they do not keep up with infrastructure.
Correct.
They don't increase the size of roads or at least improve them. They don't do the things to help keep up with all the people.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
and I don't know that you can here because it's like you have this big live oak. So it's like, do we want to tear down these ancient live oaks? I mean, these things are hundreds of years old.
yeah.
So it's
Well,
like you don't want to cut them down, but you have to cut them down to extend the road.
yeah. It's a
And
money
they do
thing,
it through
I
the
think.
guys. See, and then what pisses me off is where Magnolia Plantation is. They
Mhm.
were like, we're going to call these live oaks down because people were running off the road and hitting them and dying, and it's a traffic hazard, and people are it's scary. That's not why they want to widen it so they can build more shit,
Yep.
and it's because they know they'll never be able to sell anything if you got to sit an hour
Well, here's the thing.
down 61 to get there.
Once you cut enough of those picturesque live oaks that line the road and it loses its allure, that big canopy, it
It's no
becomes
longer
much
Charleston.
it becomes much easier to justify cutting down more live oaks
Yeah, pines and all the shit behind it.
because there's nothing to preserve anymore,
Yeah,
right? Like
this should be a
that
4-lane highway.
that road with that canopy is gorgeous. It was
Mhm.
gorgeous.
It's so
And
beau it's not anymore, but it
it still
was.
exists out here to heading out to Cypress Gardens. There's still a portion of the road out here that is covered with live oaks, and it's beautiful. There are times during the day, and the traffic is slow enough that you could bring your car out here and get some really cool shots of your
Mhm.
car parked in the road with
I
that
would.
tunnel of trees. Um, but yeah, it's a money thing, right? These developers come in here with big pockets, deep pockets, and these development ideas, and just like it happens on a national scale in our government, they lobby and they line the
Mhm.
pockets of politicians and inspectors and people in the local area. And I'm sure they have ways of doing it all legally and legitly, but it
But it's
doesn't
still
change the
happening.
fact that it's still happening. And these buildings and stuff are going up so fucking fast. Um,
Dude,
and
downtown doesn't even look like downtown. If you haven't
I
been to
know,
Charleston, if
holy
you've ever
cow.
been here and you haven't been here in the last 2 years, come down here. You will get lost. You won't even know where you are. And you know what's funny is when you lived here, when I moved here, when I got out of the army, I drove to Folly Beach one day. Like I left your house, drove to Folly Beach,
Yep.
and I drove down Riverland. And it's the first time I've ever been on that road. I was just driving around to see. And you could drive anywhere you wanted back then. But I took a video of that road and sent it to Andy, and I was like, well, I think we found Narnia. Like this is well, I don't know that Narnia existed back then, but I think we found paradise. Like this is the most beautiful place. And then like the marshes, God, it's just so beautiful back then.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore. I don't know why. I don't know. What sucks though is like when I moved here, people were complaining about people moving here. And I'm like, I don't know, it seems perfectly fine to me. But you were there probably 10 years before I was.
Yeah.
But it's like today, the people that are moving here, they still see it as charming and beautiful because they don't know what it used to look like.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna slow down.
I don't think it is either, man.
And
It's
for that reason, I'm out.
And for that reason, I'm out. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I'm fucking as close behind you as I possibly can be.
It just sucks, man. I really thought I'd live here forever. I really, but I mean, in all honesty, I'm happier with what's gonna happen.
I've never felt that way about this place.
No, dude, I loved it, man.
No,
When I came down
it's
for your wedding with her, we
yeah,
drove down from where you got married to Fiery Ron's
yeah,
home team barbecue.
yeah,
That drive right there, and we stopped and we ate there. And I just looked at her and I was like, we need to move here because I was still in the army at the time.
yeah. No, I remember. Yeah, and I remember when you moved down and you were trying to find an apartment, a place to call your own initially, and you would take days and just go drive and
Yeah,
figure out what you wanted to do. But I don't know if it's the military brat in me, but like I always have this itch to mm,
I do
go
too.
somewhere else, do something
Yeah,
different. And I don't think that'll ever be fully satisfied. I think it's kind of ingrained in
yeah.
me. But I think I can satisfy that with adventure and going places and doing things. I've learned that. Um,
We moved a lot too, but not as much as you did. I mean, you literally moved every 4 years,
every 3 or 4 years, man, till I
and it's
was.
what
And
I
what's
liked
funny?
about it. Go ahead.
No, your turn.
No, you said what's funny. Don't fuck with me now.
no, no. What's funny is that like in my like technically that stopped like in 1999 when we moved.
1999.
1999. Guess where is me?
Guess what?
Dude, I love that guy. He's so
He's
fucking
so
funny.
awesome. I love him too.
um, I could talk about that dude
Hmm.
for 20 minutes. But when we moved to North Carolina and Dad, he got stationed there at Bragg with JSOC. Like that's a career thing. That's like usually when you land in that community, there's only a few places on the East Coast and maybe one on the West
Yeah.
Coast where involved in that community, and that's
Right.
where you go. That's it.
Yep.
So he finished his career there, and so we didn't move anymore. But you know, I after 4 years, 5 years, I graduated, and then it was college where I moved every year into a new house or apartment. And then
Mhm.
I after graduating, I moved to Georgia with so even though the whole military thing was over, I was still moving every year, every other year until I
Yeah,
was in my early 20s. This is the first place I've stayed this long and forever. But even here, I've lived in an apartment and then, the 3 or 4 houses since I've, lived here over 16 years, and that's not unusual, but, like, a lot of people like, some people have never moved ever. Like,
I know.
I meet people here who have
I
lived in
know.
the same they live in the
It's
same fucking
so
house they grew up in,
crazy.
and I'm just like, "That
So
sounds
crazy.
so crazy to me."
But they probably think it's insane that you would leave like that.
For
Like,
sure,
for me, like,
100%.
we did the same thing, like, my dad got out about the time that your dad settled down, and so it's like I stayed in Virginia for a while, and I always never liked Virginia, so and I think it's because I was so used to moving, but the Army moved me, I went to Texas, then I went to Maryland,
Mhm.
and I was deployed, and then I moved from Maryland to South Carolina, and I've always since I joined the Army, I've told her, I was like, I've lived somewhere too long when I go somewhere and bump into someone I know." And a lot of people find comfort in that. Like, you never know who you're going to see today, out in the
Yeah,
town.
yeah, right.
To me, terrifying. I don't like it. I like
Yeah.
going somewhere and not knowing anyone. That's my
Got
favorite thing.
I tell Jessica all the time, we go back to visit her parents. Her parents live, in it's still a fairly rural area, but like this, there's stuff popping up more frequently. Um, it's about 7 miles, I think, from my high school where I went to high school, and, the stuff that's out there now didn't exist. Like, there's tons of neighborhoods and grocery stores and things all around that area that it was just pine trees when I was in high school, and, I tell Jessica all the time, I hate going to the fucking grocery store when we're here because I am terrified I'm gonna run in to somebody that I knew in high school, and then they're stuck here.
Yep.
They're still here doing whatever, and we're gonna have to have a conversation about what I'm doing and and it's just like I've had it happen a couple times, and it goes one of 2 ways. They either seem genuinely happy to see you and are happy for you and what you've been doing, or you can immediately tell that this, like,
Condescending as fuck.
condescending,
Yeah.
jealous, like, either
Yeah.
condescending because you're in their home and this is their area, or they're irritated that you got out and went and did a
Yeah.
thing,
Or they
and
say
then
things like, seems like you're doing pretty well.
yeah,
And then you're like, well, I mean, yeah, because I
yeah.
tried to. I tried to
Yeah,
do
and
well.
that's I
It-
so I had some friends in college. I went and when I left and I started my job here, they were still living in Greenville. One of them was working on a graduate degree. The other one was just working, but they were still in the college town. I went up there to hang out on a homecoming weekend, and they were just fucking rude and condescending to me the whole weekend.
yeah.
Just like, "Oh, big, you gonna buy drinks for everybody?" Like,
Yeah.
I
Right.
I
Yeah.
I had been living as an adult with a job, like, it was not uncommon to go out with your friends and offer to buy around. Everyone took a
Hmm.
turn, right? That was a thing. I did that assuming that was what normal adults did,
Yep.
and they treated me like I was showing off, like
Yeah.
I was trying to be some big shot. And after like the 3rd or 4th comment, I finished my drink and I was like, "It was good seeing everybody. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
visit some other friends." And I've never spoken to him again.
Luckily, almost everyone at high school is dead except one
That's
person, and
fucking
he's
wild.
I know. Well, I mean, I hung out with
Well,
a
you've told me
bad
about a lot
crowd.
of it. It's
I've
crazy,
hung out with a
dude.
bad crowd, so I'm not surprised they're dead. But one I thought was dead, and it ends up he was like my best friend in high school, but it ends up like his dad told me he was dead so that I wouldn't get involved with him because he had a heroin problem.
Oh,
And
no shit.
years
Oh, you
later,
told me about that.
years
That's
later,
right.
I thought he'd been dead for years. And years later, he got clean, and he was clean for a couple years. And his dad gave him my number and was like, "Just so you know, Matt thinks you're dead." And he hit me up and was like, "I know this is going to sound fucking crazy, but this is why he told you that." And I was like, "Dude, I'm so glad that you're clean, you're alive, but also that you're clean and like he's a chef now and like he's doing well for himself. He owns his own
Good.
house and it's like I would hang out with him only because of the journey,
Sure.
But
Yeah, yeah.
like everyone else, I'm glad I don't know any of those people. It's like I can't imagine they've turned their life around. The only reason I did is because I was more or less forced to, um, which I'm not going to get into, but it's like I was so close, man, to being that person that was in and out of prison, and I mean, I was so close. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just so when I look back on it all, and it's like, what a cool life I've lived. It's like up to this point, it's just like it's fascinating how many up and downs, and I've had in my rock I've had this woman in my life as a
Yeah.
rock, as a point of stability. And people always say stuff like, I don't know how you deal with him. Like, what do you, how do you deal with him all the time? And I brought it up one day and I'm like, why do people say that? And she's like, you're a lot, but it's because they don't know you.
Yeah.
It's like if they know you, they know that you're pure heart and your intentions are good. But and I think it's because I speak my mind. And I get that
Yeah.
a lot. Like there's people I work with. I got a friend at work, actually, a new friend. He is liberal Democrat. But him and I agreed that we don't even have to talk politics. And we have a great relationship. And he called me this morning complaining about somebody that I don't like.
Yeah.
Remember that thing I had to do? I was trying to get that guy fired, and we
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
fire him because
Yeah.
the way he looks. He's got a problem with him, and so he's like, you know what, Matt? It's like I appreciate the fact that you just say what you feel. You don't beat around the bush. He's like, I feel better now knowing that you're dealing with this too. And it's like, yeah, man, I don't see the point. And then but I've realized that a lot of people don't want to hear the truth, or they don't want to hear what my truth is. And I don't even like the word truth, but they don't want to hear
Ex-
my opinion. They get offended by it. Prime example is the conversation we've lost friends recently. And I'm going to talk about this because I know that they won't listen. Maybe they will. But I've lost two friends recently that I thought were
yeah.
good friends. I opened up to them drinking after an event privately, us three drinking. I opened up to them about my journey, about meditation, and just things that I'm doing in my life that are different now, and because they're not accustomed to it or they think it's weird, they walked away from that conversation thinking that I worships because I talked about the muse. Like the muse may or may not be real, but it's something that derives inspiration. I don't know. They walked away from that conversation thinking that I was a Satanist and that I worship the devil. And that's the reason they quit talking to me. And I didn't know that until I pulled them aside and was like, hey, what the fuck is going on? Why have I been ignored? Why are you not texting me? Like, you used to call me every week. Like, why do we not talk anymore? Why do I not get invites to hang out? Why are we not friends? And then they just were like, that they told me that. And it's crushing because like I, I'm, I'm not, but I've just come to realize that there's a quote, your circle should be so small that it cuts you. And,
Fuck
and
yeah.
I like it. And I think that I was trying to be too friendly with too many people. And I think I've realized that what I need in my life is you, my wife, like a couple close friends, few
Yeah.
people, just few people. And I don't need to make any more friends because I realize that it's hard for me to make friends because I am the way I am and people are easily offended or they think too much or whatever. I don't know what the deal is, but I am not made for the average person.
Well,
I
I
kind of
think
forgot
people
we were on
are,
a podcast that people are going to hear this. I was just,
who cares?
yeah, I don't give a
Uh,
shit.
well, the thing is like, I don't think here's the thing. People will tell you that they're offended by a truth or by an opinion. I, I think that's a cop out. I think what it is that people are burdened by the
Probably.
truth. They
Yeah.
don't want to accept it. So rather than sit back with it, right? Like that's one thing that I've learned to do a lot more recently when I hear things that I recognize upset me or I start to feel like a way. I don't know if offended is the right word, but like when I start to feel that way, I sit with it and I think about it like why does
Yeah.
this thing make me feel like this? And I get to the bottom of it and I realize that a lot of it comes from things that are not associated with what I'm hearing or being told at all. It's preconceived ideas about something. It's oftentimes a lack of understanding. Like I realize that this is bothering me because of this, and the reason is because I don't truly understand that, or I
Yeah.
need to better understand this, or maybe I need to better understand how I truly feel or what my opinion about that thing really is. And once you realize all that, you kind of remove the emotion out of it.
Mhm.
And if you can operate that way, dude, it's like a superpower. Nothing bothers you. You don't take things personally. You can make decisions without being emotional or irrational about it. What the hell just happened? Your room
I
just
have
got
a
super dark.
well, I got a key light, but I had a background light that went out.
Oh, okay. Uh, it was weird. It just got like super dark.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
no, it's a light.
but yeah, being able to operate not just amongst people and friends, but in business or work, like, and not be emotional
Yeah.
is a fucking superpower, dude.
Well, that's like because I told you about the book, The Four Truths,
Hmm.
and it's like I think everything, or the four agreements, the four, what, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah, the four agreements.
Yes, I
I'm
think
pretty
it is.
sure. Yeah. So, but it's like, I always, I think your journey in life is different, right? And everybody's journey is different. But I think that there's things that happen in your life when you start to really focus on yourself and decide, like, all right, I'm going to better myself and I'm going to figure something out. So, like, the Four Agreements, amazing book. If anybody wants to listen to it, it's basically like 2 Joe Rogan podcasts. It's, I mean, maybe not even that long. It's pretty, it's just, you just listen to it. But the first agreement is be impeccable with your word, which means you speak with integrity, you only say what you mean, and you avoid using words that speak against yourself or gossip. And but use the power of your word to find direction of truth and love. So it's like, I be impeccable with your words. Don't just say shit to say it, which is a really hard one because I like to just say shit to say it. But I am impeccable with my words. Usually, I'm not lying to people. When I say something, if you don't accept it or don't like it, I mean, that's fine. That's you. That's you. So two is don't take anything personally, and that's a wildly accepted thing. It's just nothing others do or say is because of you. So whatever I say, it has nothing to do with you. It's like people get offended on things I say. It's like my thoughts and words have nothing to do with you. You're the one taking offense to it. So I try
Mhm.
to look at it that way. Like, do not take offense to what other people say. Don't take anything personally. Nothing. And that's hard for me because I take a
Sure.
lot of shit personally that isn't true. And I've run things by you and been like, do you think they said that because of this, or do you think I pissed them off when this happened? So it's
It's
like that's a hard one.
overthinking, yeah.
Yeah, and the third is don't make assumptions, which is a very hard thing
Same.
for me. I am an
Yep.
assuming motherfucker. I assume everything. I'll end a conversation with a fist bump and be like, "Why didn't he want to shake my hand?" And it's like, it's like, are they don't like, it's I get worried about why we fist bumped. And then four is always do your best. And that doesn't mean to like exceed in everything. It just means give the best effort. And they all
Sure.
work backwards. So if you always do your best, and someone says something negative about you, you can't make an assumption on that because you did your best. Maybe
Sure.
it wasn't to par, but I did the most that I could. If I failed on that, it's like, it's okay. I didn't fucking, I didn't exceed your goal, but
Right.
I did my best. So I'm no longer worried about that. So I don't make assumptions on that anymore. And since I don't make assumptions on it, I don't take it personally. And then I will able to come to an after action review and be impeccable with my words and tell you I take fault and this going wrong, but I did the best that I could to make sure that wouldn't go wrong. And it
Yep.
has been so profound for me to think that way. It's really helped me a lot mentally, physically. My stress levels are way down. My blood pressure's coming down. Like in it, but it's a constant reminder. You have to keep saying it to yourself. Don't do
Right.
it. And I recommend. I'm telling you, it's like a 2.5 hour book. It's get it on
Yeah.
Audible.
Yeah. Yeah, I have it written down, I still need to listen to it, but, I'm familiar with it, and I'm familiar with what the 4 agreements are. I'm curious what they have to say about it, though.
It's really good. There's a lot of books that I'm experimenting with, just things that I'm right now. I think I'm a reasonable skeptic. So like I'm skeptical about a lot of things, but I'm reasonable because there's things that have changed my life that I thought were bullshit, and like I've started to practice them or do them, or like it's like stoicism was the entrance to this. Stoicism
Mhm.
kind of started like reading the meditations of Marcus Aurelius and other people from that time period. It's It's basically like learning how to live your life without getting upset, and then tying it all in with that the earth is a school thought. Like for me, those are very beneficial. It's like there's no reason to get upset. Shit happens. I got bats in my attic right now. That's $2,500 I didn't plan on spending. I got
Yeah,
a tube hanging out. They fucked my roof up, so I'm probably gonna have to buy a new roof out of this. But you know what? It's just enjoy the journey. And unfortunately, this is a money journey, so I got to figure out how to live my life to where I don't learn money journeys anymore. I learn
that sounds nice.
something else. So and I think the
I wanna live money journeys where people are giving me money. I'm tired of having to owe people money.
right, but I think the way to not live a money journey is to not own anything. And
I
so
think you're right,
you think about these songs from the 90s where it's like you work your ass off to buy shit that you don't need that just cause you're a slave. Like a mortgage is a ball bearing chain stuck to your leg.
for
Like, yeah, I
sure.
am responsible for this house. And it wouldn't hurt sting so much if I didn't have a mortgage, but I bought too much of a house. I should not have bought this house. But I'm glad I did because it worked out well. I have a lot of
Sure.
equity because the Charleston market's crazy. But
Yeah.
it's really is. I think that's like the meaning of life is to enjoy the journey and figure out how to make your journey not involve money. Own less shit, like own stuff, but have less loans, have less debt, I guess is a
Yeah, for
better way to
sure.
say it.
Yeah,
And
no
I
doubt.
don't even know if anybody's still listening at this point, but this is like all the stuff that we've done. How many podcasts? This is episode 211. We've done
211.
210 podcasts before this, and I don't think we've ever talked like this.
No, no, we've had some short segments where we've touched on some of this stuff, but um, you know, last one, we're just kind of throwing shit out there.
Yeah, and I think everything after this, I don't think we'll talk about whiskey ever again, but
I mean,
maybe we get a cool bottle we're excited about or
yeah,
something. I
maybe.
don't know.
I don't
And then even the hunting thing, it's just I just it's hard for us to hunt here. Like public land is so far away for both of us. And
yeah.
then,
Well, not for me. It's just
well,
time. It's a time thing.
yeah,
But, like I think you and I agree, or we agreed a while back. It's just like, at least for us, I know there are other podcasts that talk about these things individually and they do very well for themselves. Um, there's just only so many pieces of gear, companies, guests, or hunts that like I can talk about
yeah,
over and over again.
yeah,
And like you said, when your hobbies start to feel like work, like it started to feel like I couldn't go hunting unless I had my camera and needed to try and capture some stuff.
right, yeah,
Right? I
yep,
couldn't it just became it lost its what it was and has always been to me from the
correct.
get-go, which is a place to go, the woods, and you and I have said this many times, that's my church, that's my sanctuary,
Yep,
that's where I
same.
go to be away, and to be with myself, um,
To be in
you know,
nature, to feel the sun, to watch a
and
sunrise, it's
yeah, and whether
beautiful.
it's turkey hunting, deer hunting, whether it's fishing, whether it's just camping,
Yeah,
just getting out,
yep.
and when it starts to feel like it's a job and it requires extra effort to meet the demands of other people or other expectations,
We
it
just
just
can't
it
enjoy it.
just
It's like social media will love this, and you ruin your experience so that people you don't know can see it online.
yeah.
And
And look,
that
if
is, I guess that probably boils down what happened.
to our previous statement, if you're doing those things and it makes you happy and you're having fun
Yeah,
with it, then fucking keep doing it.
right.
I listen to several of those podcasts on a regular basis. I enjoy listening to them. I
Mhm,
just got tired of having to feel like I had to fucking do it myself, and just
mhm.
I'd rather sit and bullshit about life and whatever else. So maybe we need to start another podcast called Life and Loggers. I don't know. Or
Life and loggers.
uh
Are you drinking
meditations,
loggers now?
mead and meditations.
Yeah, you meditations. Well, I'm gonna start. It's like my last thought. I got to pee, so I mean, I'm fine with going to pee, and we can keep going. I don't give a shit. It's up to you. But I'm gonna start an account for the wife only because I
Yeah.
know how to make money off of it now. And there's like
Yeah.
people are like, well, if you know how to do it, why didn't you do it? That this was never supposed to be that. It was supposed to be fun for us. We have envisioned like us finding something. We just never found it that would actually. But being social media influencers was never ever the goal. We don't. Neither of us
Mm,
have it in us. I'm not going to sit here and put my face on something and be like, if you're fucking tired at the end of the day, this fucking energy drink that's made purely from what do you know? It's sickening. I don't want to do it. Anyway, but her page is literally gonna be what the fuck we like doing. And it won't be filming and cinematic. It's just gonna be set the camera up. I'm gonna play with bees. And then if you want to watch 4 hours of me fucking checking beehives, of me moving the camera every time, I'm not gonna edit it anymore. It's just gonna be that. We'll probably do a 24-hour live stream of the chicken coop, her in the garden, but there won't be
yeah.
like this cinematic thing. Every once in a while we'll do the talking head stuff, but it's I don't care. And I'm not gonna pressure myself to create beautiful content because I don't want to make it to where I want to just forget the camera's there and go on about my day. I'm just
Yeah.
recording what I'm doing. And that's what we're gonna do. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But if it
Yeah.
does work,
Oh,
it'd be cool to have that income.
for
Um,
sure.
like yeah, or like free gardening tools or free bee boxes or whatever. Yeah. I gotta pee a lot. So I can either pee and come back or we can wrap it up. Well, we're almost at 2 hours. I think we did.
Yeah, we can wrap it. I smelled dinner.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
So
It is 5:30
yeah,
ish.
it's my one of my favorite it's not a carnivore dish, but I sorry. Um, I exclude the pasta. It's called Marry Me Chicken. I don't know if you've ever had it.
No.
Look up the recipe.
Okay.
Occasionally, I'll let Jessica will make, a batch of pasta with this chickpea-based, pasta. It's got a bunch of protein in it. I'll have, like, a cup of that with it just to change
Oh,
it up,
this
but it's
shit
basically
looks
just
delicious.
it's like chicken seasoning, heavy cream, and, sun-dried tomatoes, and it's fucking
Yep.
amazing.
Love sun-dried tomatoes. Well, enjoy that. And
I
thank
will,
you to everybody that's been along on the journey for real.
for
We
sure.
appreciate it. We love you all. We love the support. And I don't know.
Come
We
check
may
us out on
start
YouTube.
posting
We'll be
dumb
around.
shit on Instagram when we feel like it, but the days of trying to promote the company are over. It's just we'll be on YouTube. So if you listen audio only, these are gonna all disappear once we stop paying. They're all gone. So
Enjoy while you can.
go while you can, or head over to YouTube. Check us out.
Follow us on YouTube, leave some comments.
And we're not doing it because we want you to follow. We don't give a fuck. It's just telling you if you want to hear more, that's where we'll be
That's where
exclusively.
it will be.
So
Cool.
cool. Thanks everybody. Thank you, Gus. That was a good one. I enjoyed
That was
that.
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
And congratulations to Witter, Colton, Brian, Logan, Rocco. I'll get these boxes out shortly. I might even throw a bottle of meat in each of those. We'll see.
Lucky
We'll
you.
see. Okay, bye.
All right, toodles.